poverty cannot be reduced by handouts.
It's all about economic development. Trade is the best way to improve the quality of life of people.
Infrastructure is what unlocks the economic space.
The North-South Corridor is one of the key initiatives on the continent.
When we talk about the North-South Corridor, it affects everyone.
This is a region of hope. The potential is there.
The source of growth are in Africa. They are not in Europe anymore. It's Africa's turn.
This is a world of unlimited opportunities, both politically, economically, and socially.
To release the potential for Africa, there is a need to reduce the cost of doing business across borders. This means major investments in transport infrastructure, including ports, roads, internal container depots, inland waterways, and railways are needed. The tripartite, made up of EAC, COMESA, and SADC, began its journey in June 2011, where at the Tripartite Summit, 26 African countries with a larger population than the EU united and signed the landmark free trade agreement.
Yes, today, 12th of June 2011 is an important milestone for SADC, COMESA, East African Community, for Africa, and why not, to the entire world.
There is a vision for a united Africa, and the regional economic communities like mine, East African Community, like SADC, like COMESA, are the step towards that vision of bringing these blocks together now into one free trade area and eventually into one common market.
The major economies that were driving global growth are in a recession. And we see the shift in terms of global economic power and geopolitical power to the emerging industrializing economies. So through the tripartite, we should be able to attract investment.
The fact of the matter is that we will now have much more easy access to markets in the rest of the continent, on the East Coast anyway, the three participating RECs. This will make sure that tariff issues, infrastructure issues, and to some extent developmental issues will be less of a barrier to promoting inter-regional trade than they have been up to now.
Africa, at present, has the lowest rating of any region for logistic performance. The work of the tripartite in streamlining border posts will play a massive role in improving intra-African trade. Chirundu, on the border of Zambia and Zimbabwe, is the first working one-stop border post in sub-Saharan Africa.
We opened Chirundu on 4th December, and the two presidents of Zambia and Zimbabwe came and opened commissioned the border post.
The operation of the one-stop border post is going to bring down the transit time from about 7 days to a few hours. And that's a phenomenal development when you consider that a truck which is stationary for 7 days is basically wasted capital.
I mean, for us it's extremely exciting. I think as Trademark, as COMESA, as SADC, ESC, this is a good success story. And we are looking forward to replicate it to other borders that are experiencing congestion.
We would want to see Beitbridge take on the same model that we had in Chirundu, which is the one-stop border. Borders become really integral if you're going to be working on anything that is to do with regional integration.
Trucks are being cleared before they arrive at the border. And our managers have managed to implement this very successfully, and that has helped. So that by the time the driver gets to the border, all his paperwork has been done.
We have definitely reduced the clearance time for our commercial cargo, which will definitely benefit our economies and those countries along the North-South corridor.
Nowadays, you can wait maybe one day. You come today, tomorrow you're going. So I can say this system they introduced now is best.
There are 21 ports across Africa. With container vessels on international routes getting bigger, ports are being majorly developed, including major work at Maputo.
We just completed a master plan project in which we are projecting the cargo to grow up to close to 50 million tons in the next 20 years. To do that, we have to make certain investments in infrastructure. So we're looking at building new terminals, acquiring new equipment. We have to also work on our workforce, build their capacity through training, experience, etc. We're committed to developing the port to a level which makes us an international player.
Rail is suited to handling larger volumes of freight at a lower cost. A 40-ton wagon train with 20-ton axle loads can carry 2,500 tons, equivalent to 80 road trucks, and is environmentally friendlier. Fuel consumption is 25% that of road on ton per kilometer. Investment in rail will help economically crucial regions such as the Zambian Copper Belt and will also help alleviate pressure on the roads.
The future for this line is very bright. Zambia is developing, so many mines are opening, other new metals are coming on board, the population is also growing, so the demand for transport is very high. So that gives me hope that should we improve our services or should we get that assistance which we need, then the future is very bright.
Despite the huge potential of rail, 90% of freight is being transported by road in sub-Saharan Africa. It is now about relieving the roads of what has damaged them, repairing what has been damaged, and sustaining what is being developed. Funding has also been allocated to improve the connections between what are now better working border posts. Work has begun on repairing 1,000 kilometers of road desperately needing reconstruction.
Where there's now an agreement on a single axle load limit across the entire region to enforce and monitor the compliance of transporters to those axle load limits and standards. You need weigh bridges to ensure that the truckers, the drivers, the cargo owners are not taking chances by overloading.
The most beautiful thing is that we are a third world country. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. The first world has already done that for us. It is up to us now to take the technology of the first world and bring it over into our third world economy.
Studies are showing a lot of improvement on the corridor, especially in the area of border efficiency. There's a lot more work to be done in terms of infrastructure development, and people are working on that. So, yes, we have achieved, but we need to do more. We need to work extra hard, we need to cooperate more, and we need those decisions.
When it comes to economic activities, like imports, exports, they take place through an economic space. And if you can create a single economic space, at least for those transactions, eliminate the regulatory and administrative and physical barriers, then we are in a win-win situation.
There are benefits to be made in the road sector, in the development of ports, management of ports, in the railway network. On the infrastructure side, there are lots of opportunities, definitely.
It is time now to team up to help us to improve the infrastructure, because it's the only strategic intervention that we need in opening up our economic resources.
Africa's combined population is 1.1 billion. It's as big as India or China. So it's a huge market here itself. It's just that we are fragmented in the way we think, and we call ourselves 53 nations. I mean, India and China are where they are because they have a huge domestic market. And if we just break the barriers in our mind and say Africa is one continent, one market, one marketplace, I see the future.
One billion people, a billion dreams, economic growth, regional integration, trade, not aid. These practical steps bring the vision of a united Africa and economic prosperity for all one step closer. A young Africa inspired by a new generation of African leaders and fueled by the creativity and energy of its own people is on the rise. The time is now. This really can be Africa's century.